Ever just like grab a candy bar at the checkout
Yeah.
or when you instantly think you can tell someone's mood just by like how their face looks.
It's funny, right? We're running on autopilot so often, all these hidden forces we don't even realize are calling the shots. That's where,
Thinking fast and slow comes in.
exactly. Daniel Kahneman's book.
We're doing a deep dive into it. Well, the Blinkist summary at least should be a wild ride.
It's like
Hmm.
you're getting a user manual for your own brain,
By that time someone wrote one of those.
And the biggest thing is there's not just one you in there. Two systems always kind of battling it out. System one, system
Do
two.
minds in one. So system one, that's the instant one, right? Like,
Yeah.
loud noise, you jump. Or you just read a billboard without even thinking about it.
Yeah, fast, intuitive, emotions, instincts, all that.
Okay, and system two is more my speed. Like, when I finally do my taxes,
Yeah.
takes effort.
Deliberate,
Yeah.
analytical. For those really complex things in life.
But here's the kicker. Kahneman, he found that the folks who use system two more score higher on those IQ tests. Who knew?
It's a mental muscle. You got to work it out.
Makes you think twice about that candy bar, huh? Ready to see these systems in action.
Let's put them to the test.
Okay, listeners, riddle time. A bat and ball cost $1.10 total. The bat is $1 more than the ball. What's the ball cost? Don't overthink it.
First answer that pops in your head.
And time's up.
Good.
If you said 10 cents.
Classic system one.
Right. Wants that quick and easy answer.
But fire up that system two.
Yeah.
Do the math.
So it's a nickel.
Tricky, right?
Shows how easily we go for the simple solution, even if it's, well, wrong. Good news is, we can train ourselves to be more aware of these shortcuts our brain takes.
Like priming. Sneaky little thing that.
Priming, huh? Okay, I'm all ears. What is that?
So priming is, it's when just seeing or hearing something can totally change how you react to something totally different. Unconsciously.
So I could be, like, influenced and not even know it.
Exactly. Kahneman, he uses this example. You see the word fragment, S-O-H-E-P. If you just saw the word eat, you'll probably fill it in now.
Soup.
Right. But if you'd seen wash,
Then it'd be soap. Okay, yeah, I get it.
it's like constant connections happening in the back of our mind.
And we're clueless.
Well, it goes even further. There was this study, right? They primed people with words about, like, old folks, Florida, bingo, that kind of thing.
Don't tell me they all suddenly wanted to retire.
They started walking slower without even realizing it.
Oh, okay. That's both wild and a little creepy. So, like, are ads and stuff always priming us?
It's a good question to think about. The more aware you are of priming, the
Okay.
more you can, recognize it happening.
Be a smarter consumer.
Exactly.
Next time I see an ad and it, like, pushes my buttons, gonna ask myself, is this just priming? Messing with me?
There you go.
Speaking of subtle forces, there's the halo effect. We've all fallen for this one round.
Hmm.
Meet someone new, they're charming, funny,
Maybe just, like, really ridiculously good looking.
and suddenly we assume they're also brilliant, trustworthy, the whole package deal.
Zero evidence, but our brain's like, yep, they're perfect.
Like this guy I knew, Ben. Great storyteller. Everyone loved him at parties. Turns out there was a whole other side to him.
Our brains, they crave a good narrative, even if it means filling in the blanks with assumptions. And that can lead us straight to confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias. Seeing what we want to see. Like when a friend recommends something, let's say, I don't know, a gadget, and you only look for good reviews online, even if everyone else hates it.
Because we want to be right.
Exactly. Or for our friends to be right, I guess. So we ignore anything that says otherwise.
Confirmation bias. We love info that backs up what we already believe.
So we've got these mental shortcuts. We're being primed left and right. Our brains are clingy to their first impressions. How do we ever make a rational decision?
Sometimes, amazingly, we do. But yeah, knowing about these biases, that's huge. Makes us question our own thought process a little more.
Let's talk about those mental shortcuts, heuristics.
Heuristics, like rules of thumb, help us navigate, this crazy thing called life.
But they're not always reliable.
Just like shortcuts on your phone. Don't always take you the best way.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you're checking out a political candidate. And instead of all the policies, their voting record, the important stuff, you think, do they even look like a leader?
Or that classic, could I have a beer with this person? Which honestly tells you absolutely nothing about how they'd run a country.
The substitution heuristic.
We swap out the hard question for the easy one.
Often based on, well, appearances.
So first impressions do matter, even when we tell ourselves they don't.
Oh, absolutely. Especially for those snap judgments. Then there's the availability heuristic. That one's all about how Vivid examples, things we remember easily, they sway us.
Okay, tell me more about that one.
It's all about how easy it is to call something to mind. Like, what would you say? More deaths from shark attacks or falling coconuts.
Okay, first of all, both of those sound terrifying, so thanks for that. I have absolutely no idea.
Most people, they'd say shark attacks, right?
Yeah.
Dramatic, scary, all over the
So
news.
now I feel like I should know this.
But it's actually the coconuts. Way more likely to get taken out by a falling coconut.
I am never going to look at a palm tree the same way again. But I mean,
Huh.
that's the availability heuristic, right? Shark attacks are just so, like, vivid in our minds.
They loom large, even if they're statistically not that common.
We remember the dramatic stuff, even if it's not the most likely thing to happen. Notes to self, don't believe everything, I think.
Exactly. Got to be critical. Speaking of which, Kahneman gets into how we're honestly kind of bad with numbers, even when they're right there in front of us.
Oh, tell me about it. Tried to figure out a tip the other day. It was 15%. Well, let's just say my brain did not want to cooperate. Why are we like this? When it comes to numbers, I mean.
It's not so much hating logic as it is. Our brains, they love a good story, even if it means ignoring the hard data. Case in point, base rate neglect. We forget the overall probability of something if there's even a slightly interesting story thrown in.
Okay, I'm going to need an example for this one. My brain's already starting to feel the strain.
All right, so picture this. A city where 85% of the cabs are yellow and 15% are red. There's a hit and run. Witness says it was a red cab. Now, eyewitness testimony, not perfect. Let's say they're like 80% reliable. Given all that, what color you think really hit the person?
Okay, red cab, but iffy witness. I mean, it's their word against nothing, right? So probably red.
Easy to think that way, but we get caught up in the detail, you see. We forget the base rate. Way more yellow cabs overall.
So even though the witness was all red car, odds are it was probably yellow just because there were so many more driving around.
Exactly. Train yourself to think statistically, especially for those big decisions.
Don't let one little detail, even if it seems important in the moment, make you miss the bigger picture. Easier said than done, though, right? How do we keep that base rate in mind when our brains are already halfway down the rabbit hole?
Good question. One way is to try and quantify things, make those base rates more concrete. So instead of red cab, it's 15% chance it was red, 85% it was yellow.
Force the numbers on your brain, even if it puts up a fight. Got it. Okay, so we've covered how our brains love a good narrative, even if it bends the truth a bit. What about memory, though? Surely that's reliable.
Right. Memories. Trickier than we'd like to believe. Kahneman talks about this idea of the experiencing self and the remembering self. In the moment, you're feeling everything directly. But later on, when you're remembering it, that's a different story. Often they don't match up.
It's like when you're having a great meal. You're just like, oh, enjoying it. But then later you might remember who you were with more than what the food actually tasted like.
Exactly. And it changes how we think about our past experiences. There was this study and involved colonoscopies. Hope you're not squeamish.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I faint at the mere mention of a doctor's appointment. I'm at about a 7 right now. Let's see if I can handle this.
No gory details then, don't worry. But the thing is, people's memories. All about how much pain there was at the ND. Even if one procedure was shorter overall, if it ended badly, that's what they remembered.
We focus on the grand finale, not the whole show. So a bad ending can totally ruin a good experience, at least in our memories.
It can really color things, yeah.
Yeah.
And this matters for, how we set goals, how we even plan out our day. If you want to remember something fondly, it's not just about feeling good all the time. It's about those peak moments.
So that mediocre vacation can be saved with an amazing last day. Got it. Booking myself a massage and a fancy dinner just in case. But seriously, this whole remembering self being so easily influenced, kind of wild.
It's something to be mindful of, for sure.
Yeah.
And it all ties into this bigger idea, cognitive ease versus cognitive strain.
Okay, break that down for me.
Our brains, they like what's easy, familiar things. That's cognitive ease. Less effort, Think about scrolling through social media, listening to a song you've heard a million times.
My brain in its natural habitat. Got it. So cognitive strain is like the opposite.
When your brain has to work harder. That system two we talked about, it's got to kick in. Reading something challenging, solving a problem.
So cognitive ease, that's my brain on autopilot, binging those comfort shows. Cognitive strain is like dragging it to the gym for a workout, but you're saying that's a good thing.
Well, too much strain, you burn out, just like, actual exercise, but a little bit makes you sharper, more focused.
So instead of skimming that work report, I should, really pay attention, even if it hurts.
And here's something wild.
Yeah.
There are studies, they say just making information harder to process, like using a smaller font, it actually helps you remember it better.
So that's why my brain loves those tiny print disclaimers. Who
Mhm.
knew? But seriously, this is making me realize it's not just what we read, it's how it's presented to us, you know?
Exactly. And that gets to another thing Kahneman talks about, the framing effect. Basically, how information is presented.
Yeah.
It totally changes our choices, even if the facts are the same.
Okay, example time. Hit me with it.
Let's say you're a doctor, right?
Mm.
There's this new treatment plan, and you're told this has a 10% mortality rate.
10%. Doesn't sound great when you're talking about, well, living or dying.
What if I said this treatment has a 90% survival rate?
Sign me up. Wait a second. Those are the same numbers, just like worded differently.
That's the framing effect. We're swayed by the presentation, not just the cold, hard data. Emotion wins out over logic.
So it's not enough to just get the facts. We got to think about how they're being shown to us. It can't just be passive. Got to be critical.
Always ask yourself, is this influencing me in a way I don't realize? Don't just read the headline, dig deeper.
This is making me rethink every news article I've ever believed, every time I fell for a sales pitch. But if we're being primed, falling for heuristics, and now framing is messing with us, can we ever make a truly rational decision?
We can, but it takes work. Got to be willing to admit we've got blind spots. And that's where one of Kahneman's biggest points comes in. Loss aversion. We hate losing something way more than we enjoy getting something of the same value.
So even if I knew 50-50 chance of winning, say, $100 or losing $100, I'd be more worried about losing than excited about winning.
Probably. The pain of loss, it just hits us harder. And that changes how we approach risk, investing, even everyday choices.
So how do we fight that? Just got to become daredevils and throw caution to the wind.
Not exactly. It's more about, recognizing that this bias is there. Kahneman talks about reference class forecasting. Basically, instead of your gut feeling, which is often clouded by this fear of loss, you look at similar situations in the past.
So like if I'm trying something new at work, instead of thinking it'll go perfectly or be a total disaster, I should look at similar projects I've done before and use that to decide.
Use real-world data to fight those biases.
All right, so we're wrapping up this deep dive into thinking fast and slow. And honestly, I'm not sure what's more exhausted, me or my brain.
It's a lot to take in, that's for sure. But these are powerful ideas, helps you understand, why we think the way we do.
It's like we got a sneak peek behind the curtain of our own minds. So listeners, out there in the world today, remember, think twice about those instant urges, watch out for priming, question everything, and don't be afraid to use your brain, even if it takes an extra cup of coffee.
And most importantly, be kind to yourself. Figuring out this whole mind thing, it's a journey, not a race.
Beautifully said. Until next time, stay curious and remember, your mind is a powerful tool, learning to use it well. That's a gift that just keeps on giving.